Welcome, greetings, salutations to this week's edition of Reverse Mortgage Weekly. I'm your host, Zach Smith, owner of Chariot Financial, ChariotReverse.com, ChariotReverse.com. So the reason I started these weekly webinars is that there's so much misinformation out there about these programs. If you've seen some past episodes, you've seen just time and a ton of different examples where folks are just not really informed on how well this product works for people. So we're going to go into dispelling some of those myths and really giving you the good, the bad, and the ugly about these programs. So just to kind of start off and just get right down to the nitty gritty, the good thing about these programs is they access your equity. The bad thing that people don't like about these programs is that they have the potential to be negatively amortizing, which means that you have less and less equity over time. And two, that they're an FHA program. Why is it a big deal? Why do people make such a big deal because it's FHA program? Because they're going to charge you 2% up front for a mortgage insurance premium on the reverse mortgage. So it doesn't come out of pocket, but if you have a $500,000 home, that's 10 grand that they're going to charge you. And they're going to add that to the loan amount right off the bat from the reverse mortgage. And, a lot of folks will look at that and say, oh, that's a bad deal. Reverse mortgage is a bad deal. It's not a reverse mortgage thing. It's an FHA thing. And, the whole thing about the negatively amortized part of it, you can treat these just like any other loan if you wanted to. For instance, you can basically pay this loan off, pay monthly payments. You can treat this just like any other mortgage. But the key fact is that you're not forced to make that payment. The payment is optional if you'd like it. 99.9% of people decide not to make that payment. Give me, for example, when I'm of age to do a reverse mortgage, I'm running down to the bank to get one because I understand that that's going to be part of my financial planning tool. If I can eliminate my housing payment in retirement, everybody talks about how much you make. You got to make this, you got to save this. Well, really the key thing in retirement, and not only retirement, but business ownership, personal budgets, it's all about cash flow. Has nothing to do with what you make. Has everything to do with what you spend and what you keep. So we're going to go into some of those highlights here today. Once again, my name is Zach Smith. Let's go ahead and get started here. I own Chariot Financial. I've been in the industry for 21 years. I started Chariot Financial in 2019 after working for the big banks and some of the bigger mortgage companies. And I said, to heck with this. I'm going to start my own business here. And it's the best decision I ever made. I love being a business owner, small business. My business is 100% referral. So I'm not out there having celebrity sponsors usher people in to do business with me. No, it's just me. If I do a good job for people, there's like a sacred contract. And I love working that way with referrals because when someone refers someone to me, or if I refer somebody to someone, let's say it's a real situation. One of my clients, we had a big windstorm out here in Colorado. One of her trees was falling over. It was kind of leaning over, and I referred a good tree person that I know, a good arborist. And by referring that person over to them, not only do I help my client, but then I also help my friend, the arborist, as well. And there's kind of a sacred contract when you work with referrals or when you go right to the source that says, I'm going to take care of this person. So I love doing business that way. I'm going to do business this way as long as I can. As long as I'm able, I'm going to be doing referral business. I really like having that personalized touch with my business because I care about my clients and I care about what happens to their future. So it puts me in a position where I can really bring purpose to what I do. All of us talk about our why. You get up in the morning. Why am I getting up in the morning? Why am I doing this? Well, it's because you want to fulfill a purpose. You want to feel like you have something to add to the world. I mean, that's what's really fulfilling, instead of just going through the humdrum. So being able to serve people in this capacity has been a great honor. And I continue to do it. And I hope I can do it for a really long time because I love this program. I have seen it change so many people's lives. Enough about me. It's all about me. Me. So what are we going to go over in this presentation? Sorry, I am really sweaty right now. I just got back from a wonderful bike ride, and the body heat's still up and everything. So I apologize for that. Um, so what will we be going over in this presentation? Well, number one, who are typical clients that we see for a reverse mortgage? What a reverse mortgage is, what a reverse mortgage is not, why people are choosing a reverse mortgage, and how do they work in simple terms. Now, I teach a 2-hour state-sponsored class about this that I teach to real estate agents. I've been doing that for about 9 years. I feel like I'm one of those people that I really want to learn from everybody. I really think that I can learn something new every day. Oh, we got people calling. I really feel like we can learn something every day and learn something from everybody. But boy, I've been doing these a long time, and I feel very, very comfortable in this space in regards to advising people on their reverse mortgage. There's a lot of new people that have come into the industry, but I've been doing this a long time. I know how they work. And even when I'm not involved in the transaction, like I had one of my clients contact me the other day. Their mother was getting a reverse mortgage. And they said, "Hey, we don't know these people. We don't know what kind of deal they're getting. Can you take a look at it to see if she's getting ripped off or not?" So I took a look at it and I let them know, look, this is right in line. None of this looks scary. None of it looks like they're trying to take advantage of her. So I'm very happy to be of service in that capacity as well. So if you have anybody who's looking to get one of these or already is in the process with somebody, feel free to give me a call. I know that I'm not going to be involved with the transaction, but if it gives you peace of mind, I'm very happy to do that. You can call me at 720-502-3278. I'm a robot. I work 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, just to make sure you get exactly what you want and that we're of service to you. How's that for the elevator pitch? Let's move on. So who are typical clients that we see? Older adults that are looking for an increase in cash flow. Again, that's the number one thing. Everybody's going to talk your ear off about it. Financial planners are going to talk your ear off about it. Reverse mortgage people are going to talk your ear off about it. Mortgage planners, just regular loan officers, if they're good ones, they're going to talk your ear off about it. All of these folks are going to talk your ear off about cash flow in retirement. Why? Because it becomes vitally important. When we're working, during our working years, we're able to go out, we're able to, get a job, work and all that stuff. That's what most of us do. But when we retirement, a lot of us switch to fixed incomes. So once you're in a fixed income, if you're lucky enough to have fixed income, and who knows where Social Security is going to be in 10, 15, 20 years, we don't know. But if you're lucky, you have a pension or something like that. But if you're unlucky, you're trying to scrape by on Social Security. And who wants to work into their 60s or 70s or 80s? I know folks who are very happy doing that, but most folks who are very happy in that situation are financially secure and they're working on their passions. They're working on something that brings them joy, which I feel is very, very important for every human to really experience that joy of creating something or whatever floats your boat. So. Also, older adults that are in need of relief from high monthly payments from debts like a mortgage loan, credit card debt, car payments. So the thing is, again, if you can eliminate some of these payments, you're going to be in a much better situation cash flow wise. The simple example of that is you're paying $2,000 principal and interest for a mortgage. Well, what if you woke up the next day, you didn't have to pay that $2,000 out of pocket anymore? Well, boy, would that change things up if you're on a fixed income that's bringing in $4,000 a month? Yes, absolutely. That's why people are running down to the bank to get these loans because, yes, it's negatively amortizing. I know there's somebody out there watching right now saying, "Oh, well, it's negatively amortizing. You're going to pay that upfront mortgage insurance." Yeah, you are. There's no such thing as a free lunch. But it's a trade-off. Would you rather pay that $2,000 a month? And really, if you really start thinking about it, let's think about paying a mortgage payment at $2,000 a month. If you're in a 30-year fix, the 30-year fixed loan is really stacked against the consumer. We are going to crack that nut every single month so that we can pay that $2,000 per month. And let's say you just got the loan. Well, guess what? 50% of the interest on a 30-year fixed loan is collected in the first 10 years. So why do I emphasize that? Because we are just taking money out of our life savings. We're taking money out of our fixed incomes. We're taking money out of our retirement so that we can hand it over to the bank in interest. That doesn't make any sense to me. I would much rather be put in a position where that payment becomes optional. Let's say if you wanted to make $2,000 payment a month and you wanted to pay your house off and you're in a reverse mortgage, great. Knock yourself out. Go for it. If you want to pay the loan off and you're in a reverse mortgage, you want to make monthly payments, go for it. But if you don't want to make that payment and you want that payment to just be added on to the principal balance each month, you can do that as well. Now, are you going to have less money to pass on through equity? Yes, you're going to have less money when you pass away or move into a facility. The second it becomes not your primary residence, you're going to have less in equity. But what if you took that $2,000 and you put it into an investment account or took out a life insurance policy on one of your grandkids or something? Would you rather, the question that I would ask a lot of people to ask themselves, what would you rather pass on? Would you rather pass on more equity, or would you rather pass on a higher net worth? 9 times out of 10, when people are bequeathed a property, what's the first thing they do? They call up their real estate agent and they say, hey, my parents just passed, or my mother passed, my father passed. We have his home. We want to get it on the market to sell it. 9 times out of 10, that's what most people do. They don't want the house. They want the equity that's in it. Equity is a funny thing. It's a lot like having a glass coffee table right there in the middle of your living room full of cash that you can't get to. So getting access to that equity ahead of time puts you in the driver's seat. And that's really what this program is about. It's about personal freedom. The freedom to do what you want with that equity that is collected in your home. Because if you have it in a 30-year fixed, you don't have that freedom unless you take out a home equity line. And of course, you're going to have monthly payments to that, but you still don't have that freedom. If you have a 30-year fixed on your loan, you have to make that payment. And if you don't, after 3 months here in Colorado, they can put it into foreclosure. You have to make that payment. So there's not a whole lot of freedom in that. Now, if you get the option to make the payment if you want, maybe you don't want to make the payment this month. Maybe you want to go out with your grandkids, or maybe you want to go on a trip to the mountains or a trip to New Zealand or something. Go for it. You have the freedom to do that. So, the way people look at this program is just really not, there's a word that's coming to mind that I probably won't say. It's probably not appropriate to say. But I don't think people are looking at this program the way they should. Well, most people. Some people get it, and I love it when I meet them because we can just kind of talk about it. So anyways, we'll get back to the presentation. But so the last group of people that we see are folks who own their home free and clear. Well, why the heck would you want to take out a reverse mortgage if you own your home free and clear? Well, a good reason is so that you can create a safety net for your assets. What happened in the market this week? We had a really bear market. We had a 1,000-point sell-off in the stock market this week. It took a nosedive. So what happens if we get into a situation where it becomes a very bearish market? Well, the worst thing you can do during a bear market is take your money out. And that's what a lot of people do. They'll panic and they'll say, oh, I got to get my money out. Got to get into something else. And I know someone's out there, well, you should have it in index funds, all that. We'll save that conversation for another day. But people will take their money out. But if you take their money out during a down market, it's like a double whammy. Not only are you losing value in your investment account, but number two, you're on the downswing. You're selling low and buying high. That's not a recipe for success. The long game is really the way to play with the stock market. For instance, one of the questions I ask my students when I'm teaching this for the state is, if I had $1 million cash in a suitcase right here, or if I had a penny that doubles every day for 31 days, which one are you going to choose? Which one would you want? Would you want $1 million cash or a penny that doubles every day for 31 days? Well, I'm a dummy, so I picked the $1 million, but I'm wrong. I was wrong. You want the penny. Because if you take a penny and you double it for 31 days, well, it's worth over $10 million after that amount. Oh, I've really got to sneeze. Sorry about that. I've really got to sneeze. It's worth over $10 million after that 31 days. So you want the penny. It's going to be worth a lot. Well, that's a really overly gross example of how exponential growth works in our retirement accounts. But the longer you keep your money in the market, over time, you reach that rule of 72. You reach all these different things that are going to help you grow your assets over time. If you take that penny out at 15 days, it's only worth about $115, $116. So that's the thing. That's the reason why people will take these out that own their home free and clear, is they want access to that equity if they need it. Let's say the market's going down and they don't want to pull out of their accounts because they want their accounts to continue to grow. Pull out of your home equity. If you pull out of your home equity, you're in a much better position. I have a great table that shows this during the classes that I go over. In fact, I should create that for the next class. But it's you're going to be in a much better situation if you decide to pull from your home equity, and actually the survivability rate of your assets will grow exponentially. And that's really a big fear for a lot of people is, am I going to run out of money? We don't know. You might live to 70, you might live to 80, to 90, to 100. Well, the difference between 70 and 100 is 30 years. You might have to plan financially to be alive for an extra 30 years. And what quality of life do you want to have during those years? So a lot of questions to ask. So what is a reverse mortgage? Well, it is a mortgage loan. It's just like any other loan, and there are monthly payments on a reverse mortgage, but they are optional. Again, you can treat this loan just like any other loan. You can pay it off. You can pay monthly payments. You can do any of that. Many of them come with a line of credit, so the more you pay off, the more access to that equity you're going to have if you need it. Generally, they have a line of credit, cash payout, or a 10-year payout that's paid over time. So you can actually set it up to where the loan will actually pay you money each month, deposit into your bank account. So what a reverse mortgage is not. It's not a government takeover of your home, regardless of what your uncle down the street is telling you. There's a sentiment out there, and this is the silliest thing I've ever heard in my whole life, is that the bank wants you to go upside down if you take a reverse mortgage. I know Dave Ramsey is not a fan of these reverse mortgages, and I understand. He's got a whole different philosophy. Pay all your debt off, own your home free and clear, no car loans, no nothing, no debt, no debt, no debt. Okay. And then you have Robert Kiyosaki that say, use your debt wisely. So there's a little bit different philosophies out there. But this is the thing, you have folks, those financial gurus out there talking about how if the government wants you to go upside down on your house. Well, guess what? Guess who loses if you go upside down on your house on these loans? The bank. The bank loses out. HUD loses out. Because then they get stuck with a house that, let's say you owe $400 on it, it's only worth $300. What are you going to do then? We're talking about, going back in time to the 1980s where you got all these HUD homes available for folks. And guess who's taking the bath on that? The government, HUD, and the banks. They do not want to go upside down on these loans because then they're leaving money on the table. It doesn't make any sense for them to do that. It won't be profitable. Follow the money. So it's not a way to make you upside down on your house. Again, that if you go upside down on one of these, which there is a potential. Now, in a healthy market, 4% appreciation year over year, you'd have to be about 120 to go upside down on these loans. But let's say we have another 2008 event. Well, then you're not appreciating at 4% anymore. You're appreciating in negative sometimes. Sometimes the property values are going down. But it's not a way to make you upside down on your home. And it's not a payment-free mortgage. There's a big company out there. I won't name them, but I think Tom Selleck knows them real well. That basically said, hey, we're going to eliminate your mortgage payment with a reverse mortgage. Well, they got they got a lawsuit from the Federal Trade Commission saying, hey, that's misleading. And it is misleading because there is a monthly payment on the reverse mortgage. It's just that it's optional. We're not going to take it away. We're just going to give you the option. Do you want to make your payment this month? Well, if you do, you can. Well, if you don't want to make it, don't make it. It'll roll onto the loan. And what a great gift that is for a lot of folks who are struggling with cash flow and things like that. So again, why are people choosing the reverse mortgage as a retirement tool here? Let's dive into it. So for me, I think it's really simple. Number one, liquidity. Again, equity is great to have, but does it make sense to be in a big $600,000-$700,000 home, scraping by every single month, eating bologna sandwiches, not living a quality of life that you want to live when you're in this huge home? And the thing about the reverse mortgage, that this is really, I think, a very strong point that I'd like to make. This isn't a good option for everybody. And really the way to determine that is time. If you're not going to be in the house very long, or you're going to move in the next 2 years or so, or the house is maybe not conducive, it's got stairs or uneven sidewalks or something like that, slip hazards, you really don't want to age in a place that's going to be dangerous. Now, the good thing is there's a lot of easy ways to fix that stuff. I mean, even with those chair lifts and things like that go up the stairs and, things like that. So that's the good thing. But if you're not going to be in the house, let's say your grandkids, you want to move closer to kids in Oklahoma or Texas or something like that, it's not going to be a great option. But if you're going to stay in your house long term and you want to stay there long term, in my opinion, there's no better option, because you need to get access to that equity. It's not going to do you any good in the house. Also, second reason, long-term financial planning. Again, we have a lot of folks, and that's really how I envision myself. It's like Eisenhower said, plans are worthless, right? Because we don't know what's going to happen, but planning is everything. So that's kind of our plan, is using it as a financial planning tool. Home equity and liquidity. So equity is great to have, but unfortunately, it's not liquid. It's a lot like having that glass coffee table right there in the middle of your living room, full of cash that you can't get to. It's not like we can take a picture of our house and then go down to the grocery store and hand it over to the cashier and say, oh, I would like to pay for my groceries with my house. I got a bunch of equity in it. I'm good for it. Here you go. Doesn't work that way. They might look at you a little funny if you try that. I wouldn't recommend it. So why does this matter in retirement? Well, most retirees, again, they're on fixed incomes and have limited cash flow. Most people don't want to work into their 60s, 70s, 80s. Again, if you want to, great. I plan on working as long as I can. I really don't want to retire. Unless I'm out doing artwork or something like that, then, I wouldn't really consider that being retired. But that's what I would do. Unforeseen medical expenses can liquidate retirement assets prematurely. It's still the number one reason why people go into bankruptcy. Reverse mortgage solves the problem of liquidity. The reverse mortgage is designed to help older adults access equity when you need it, either by establishing a line of credit, a cash payout, or converting the existing mortgage into a payment optional reverse mortgage. Again, it's the simplest example I can think of is, let's say you got somebody who's making a $2,000 principal and interest payment, and then they convert that payment into a payment optional type program. Well, you just gave yourself a $2,000 a month raise. So reverse mortgage is a financial planning tool. I wish this was my idea, but it's not. This has been well documented, well studied. There's a lot of different studies that you can research in regards to this option. Let me change the camera here so that you can see that link. But, a lot of Americans are living longer, which creates concern about running out of retirement assets or the amount that they're going to leave to their heirs. The research of Harold Ivinsky, Sean Pfeiffer, and John Salter of Texas Tech University published an article about the academic acceptance of the reverse mortgage product as it pertains to the survivability rate of one's assets when using home equity in their retirement plan. Here's a little graph that will show you a little bit about that. So as you can see, in every instance, if you use home equity in your retirement plan, your survivability rate goes way, way up compared to not using any home equity. You know, most people, their plan and their financial planner's plan is to go through all of your assets, you know, go through your retirement, and then look at the house and sell the house and go into a facility or move in. You know, the price of rents is still really, really high. So in renting, my gosh, you know, I was just talking to one of my first-time homebuyer clients today. You know, if you're renting, you're still paying a mortgage. You're just not paying your mortgage. So I think renting is, personally, I think it's one of the, I don't think it's a very smart thing to do when it comes to, you know, getting something put together for financial freedom in the future. So I digress. Let's keep going here. So there's different types of reverse mortgage loans. What the heck is a HECM? You might hear that term, HECM. Well, what the heck is it? Well, the HECM is an acronym for Home Equity Conversion Mortgage. It's basically FHA's real fancy name for a reverse mortgage. You know, HECM loans are administered by HUD, FHA, and come with certain protections for the homeowner. These include a non-recourse feature. What does that mean? Well, you're never going to owe more on the property than it's worth. Let's say we get into another 2008 situation where all the properties plummet. And basically you have a loan on your property for $400,000 and it's only worth $300,000. Well, HUD will actually sell that property back after you pass or after you leave the property long term, as long as it's not considered your primary residence. That's, you're not living in it for, you're living in it for less than 6 months and a day. At that time, they will sell it back to the heirs for 95% of the appraised value. You owe 400, it's worth 300. They'll sell it back to the heirs at 95% of 300. So who takes the loss on that? Well, Uncle Sam, HUD. That's why you pay that upfront mortgage insurance premium. Yes, it's expensive. No, it doesn't come out of pocket. Yes, you do get something for it. Also, a bank failure security. There's, you know, in case the bank fails, they go out of business, they have security features in there that make sure that you're still in good shape. Increased access to funds in the line of credit over time. So the line of credit will actually grow over time. It's almost like having a second savings account. Well, we know this fella. This is old Tom Selleck and his legendary mustache there. You know, he was quoted as saying, you know, the reverse mortgage loan is just like any other loan. The only difference is how you pay it back. And that's true. This is the only loan due the day after you move out. So why is it called a reverse mortgage? Well, the reverse mortgage is still a mortgage. It has a monthly payment. However, this payment is optional. And if you choose not to make that monthly payment, well, you're going to have negatively amortized loan. So the loan balance is going to grow over time. If you choose not to make that monthly payment, the balance will grow. Taxes and insurance will need to be paid separately. That's another important point to these programs, is that you do have to pay your own taxes and insurance. So the two biggest myths that I run into with a reverse mortgage is, number one, you'll be upside down on your home within a few years. Again, if you go upside down on a reverse mortgage, the bank just lost. So, you know, and who wins? You win. So just keep that in mind. You no longer have title to the home. That couldn't be further from the truth. It's no different than any other loan. You know, for instance, if you have a loan on a loan, if you have a mortgage on your home right now, technically you don't own that property. Yes, it's in your name. It's recorded at the county. You're on the deed of trust. You're on all the proper documentation to own that property. But if you don't satisfy the conditions of that deed or conditions of the mortgage, well, the bank can take it back from you. Well, it's been a great pleasure being of service today, talking to you about my number one most favorite program in the whole world, the reverse mortgage loan. Feel free to contact us anytime. We're very happy to be of service. And you know what? Contact us for any reason at all. If you just want to bounce things off us, you're just curious about how the program works, I'm very happy to be of service. You can reach us at chariotreverse.com. That's chariotreverse.com, chariotreverse.com. I hope you have a great rest of your day. Many blessings to you and yours. Thanks a lot.